who I thought might join us today, but no.
Yeah, we're all dividing and conquering today.
Okay. And hopefully you've had a chance to see some of the beautiful art that Dan has created inside and in the church. And I know that you'll really be interested in this. His presentation at the artist reception was so great, and he didn't have his slides to show, so I know this is going to be more exciting. So, would you like to know who we are, or are you all good with just plunging in?
Well, I can plunge in, but I just wanted to welcome everybody and thank you for the opportunity for presenting my work and talking about it today. I know that the reception was really great. It was very well attended, and I really enjoyed having that moment to kind of speak about my work and answer questions. And so today I'm going to do the same. So I'll talk to you a little bit about myself and my background and a little bit about the work that I'm doing right now. And then we'll talk a lot about the work that I have up at St. Mark's. Is everybody on Zoom able to hear me okay?
Yep, you sound great.
Okay, great. I always like to check, make sure that happens. So, but then when I'm done talking, I'd love to field any questions that anybody has. Thanks for coming today. I really appreciate the support, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have my work up. I really think that the watercolors I have up in the space they just look really good in the space, and I was really, really happy and excited when everything finally got put together and we installed it last month. So all right. So a little bit about myself. Again, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Dan Labraco. I graduated from Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design in 2002, and I got my bachelor's degree in sculpture. I got a master's from NIU in 2007 and have been teaching since 2005. I teach at Lake Park High School. I've been there for 20 years now. I've been wrapping up my 20th year. I can't believe how fast it goes. I'm also a member of Dialogue Chicago. It's a critique seminar out of Evanston, and the professor who hosts this seminar was a painting professor at the University of Illinois in Champaign for many years, and he has been hosting this seminar for about 25 years now, maybe even a little bit more. But it's every once a month I go to Evanston and work with about 15 other full-time working artists, and we install our work in the gallery, and we talk about each other's work and give each other feedback. And it's really a great opportunity to connect to other artists, to have time to think about my work and get inspired by the work of others. I'm also an assistant director of Art Connected. It is an organization that we're a nonprofit that our sole purpose is to connect high school seniors and high school students with college and scholarship opportunities so that they could move on to pursue their passion in life. I have two daughters, Marina and Lucci, and I've been married to my wife Kim for 16 years, and this is a picture of us. So my work, I work both in sculpture and painting as my primary areas of focus, and I both work representationally and abstractly, and I kind of divide my time amongst these. So my sculpture work, I do figurative sculpture, but then I also have a series and a body of work that is abstract representations of paintings that I started doing during the COVID pandemic. And so the work feels very varied, but there actually is connecting elements to all of it. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit later when I talk about how some of my newest watercolor work and the direction that I'm going with that kind of goes back to some of the ideas that I've been working with in my sculpture practice. Here's some of my figure work. I oftentimes, whether it's photography or drawing or painting or sculpture, my daughters are a lot of inspiration here. So
Do you ever get comments back from them like, Dad, don't do that?
that's really an interesting, they've been really good sports throughout their whole lives with just kind of being there for me, serving as my models and muses, and they kind of partake too. So when I talk about some of my watercolor journey with you, you know, I want you to know that like almost every time that I sit down to paint, they're grabbing some paper and a sketchbook too, and they're kind of painting along with me, or they've been inspired by that, and so they kind of participate in the practice as well.
What is the middle one looking at?
So I imagine that this is her look of joy and surprise, and I like that you're just you don't know what it is. I'm you know, I don't have anything in purpose in mind on this one, but
You've seen that expression,
yeah,
right?
I've seen that expression. Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you to reshare the video, the things? We're not seeing them on Zoom. I've tried to get it up, but I can't get it.
Yeah, it says I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah,
so-
just stop sharing and restart.
Yep,
Should be fine.
you got it.
I'm
That's-
seeing it.
You are?
Oh,
Okay, good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
that's interesting.
there we go. And now I got it. We're good.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Perfect. Thank
So-
you so much. I apologize.
No worries. Absolutely. Thanks for speaking up. That's kind of how it has to go, right? Like everybody has to equally participate.
Well,
Otherwise,
also, what
all
I see gets
apart.
recorded, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we
thank
want
you.
to-
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that is absolutely no problem at all. Let's see here. Okay, so then this is some of my sculpture work, and this started as a series of abstract paintings that I began making during COVID, the COVID pandemic. I think in my teaching practice, I kind of ran into this place where I felt like my students really needed something different. And so once a week on Zoom in my classes, when I was teaching remotely, I put on music, and I told the kids, just paint. It doesn't matter what you paint, doesn't matter what it looks like. I ended up painting along with them, drawing and painting along with them, and I didn't really feel like I was in a place to do anything representational. So, serving as a demonstration and a model for them, I started doing some abstract paintings, and what I kind of realized was that it was kind of cathartic for me. It was like a really good moment to have some release and not worry. And the paintings really started taking on a form. I didn't really intend it, but they sort of, to me, looked like fragments, like broken pieces of something. And I kind of went with that, kind of feeling like maybe this is the broken pieces of our lives or our civilization and where we're at right now, fragmented and kind of exploding. I kind of started calling these paintings voids. And after the pandemic, I continued painting them and realized that it was something I wanted to explore in sculpture. And so with a combination of hand building and also digital manufacturing techniques. I started 3D printing. I'd model things on the computer and 3D print them. I would take my drawings and paintings and scan them into the computer and then have them burned and cut out of wood on a laser cutter. I started using some of the kind of digital technology tools available to us and making these sort of representations of what these paintings were. And to me, they also kind of are reminiscent of like a broken structure, like buildings, trusses. You see sort of the, what I think is kind of ironic because we live in a kind of digital age right now, but our infrastructure is still kind of in this industrial era. And so I'm sort of trying to find ways to represent what our world would look like if if we saw fragments of things from somebody kind of going back in time and finding archaeological remnants. And that's sort of where the sculpture is. And I mention it because this is an idea that persists with some of the new watercolor work that I'm doing, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. So a lot of the work is a lot of my sculpture work. This work particularly is all wall sculpture. So it all hangs.
What's the medium that you?
So there's wood, there's plastic, there's metal. So this piece here is soldered together, metal.
I said, oh, good, because that's what I was imagining.
Yeah.
That was metal.
Yeah. So so that's, and then paint, obviously. So I'm painting them, but I'm painting them in a way where they almost look like an artifact, like there's rust and there's decay to it. But if you look at it, the colors are vibrant and they're beautiful, and there's something it's not ugly, and is an easy way to put it, or a different, the simplest way to put it. I want these pieces, these artifacts, to have some inherent beauty to them, like the paintings. The paintings themselves, even though they're fragmented, they look like an explosion of some kind. The vibrant colors really speak to me, and they're really intriguing, the combinations of colors I use when I'm painting. So to talk a little bit about the origins of my watercolor work, and I apologize on this slide because I actually went back and looked at these pictures, and it actually was the summer of 2016, not 2009. I was in Spain with my family, and we were in a town called Santiago de Compostela. It's the town that everybody ends the Camino, the way. It's like the pilgrimage that ends at the town that's in northern Spain, in Galicia. And we were there for a week, and as part of that week, my daughters, we signed them up for like a day camp so they could interact with kids from the town in Spain, and they could work on their Spanish. And Kim had things that she wanted to do during the day, so I ended up finding a watercolor workshop and signed up for it. And it was a 3-day workshop in the town. And the artist that taught this workshop is an urban sketcher. It's a sort of art practice that is popular, where they go around and they sketch and draw. And she makes a living traveling and making books with her sketchbooks and selling them, and that's kind of her art practice. And we would go around the town to different places and sit down and paint for about an hour, and then have critiques. So you see us like laying out our work and just putting it on the grass and critiquing and talking about it. And though I do speak some Spanish, it was a challenge for sure, because the entire workshop was all in Spanish, and but art I guess is a universal language, so I can paint and people can understand through that. But this really was the start, because after this I was so inspired that just about everywhere I went, and I traveled with my family after 2016, I would bring a watercolor set. I'd bring paper and sketchbooks, and I would make a practice of painting wherever I went. This is some of the work from that first year that I did it. And to me, there's something really special about sitting in a place for an hour or two and not moving, just sitting and observing and watching and looking. Art, I always tell my drawing and painting students that, drawing something from life is not really a hand-eye coordination skill. It's really an observation skill. And so taking the time to really look at everything, the shape of molding, or the colors on a brick paver, or little details that we just overlook because we're constantly in a rush. We're constantly moving so fast through life that we just never take the time to really pay attention to things. Sitting down and drawing and painting them it's a deeply fulfilling practice for me. So wherever we go, since then, whether it's in the United States or abroad, I'm always telling my family, hey, why don't you guys go explore, and I'm gonna be here and come back in a couple hours, and I'll still be here, and so I try to paint everywhere, and I remember those places. I remember what something smelled like and looked like. I remember how the shadows played off of things, and so it's a really special practice that I really deeply feel fulfilled when I do it. Here's a picture of me, and as I said before, it just seems like whenever I sit down to do this, my daughters are kind of with me, and you can actually see them out there. And so from 2016 on, I have probably as many paintings of theirs as mine. Maybe one day I'll have a show where I show their work next to mine. It might be really something fun to try. I'm sure they would, they might really love that experience.
Depends on their age, whether they would love that experience or they would say, oh, Dad.
Maybe, yeah. I think, I think they have those tendencies to say that, but then there's,
Yeah.
but they also still have a lot of fun with me. So
Your daughters are pretty cool.
yeah, they are pretty cool. So another like wonderful experience that I had along this journey, and it actually began in 2023. Both my daughters, we signed them up for a summer camp where they took a creative writing class at Frank Lloyd Wright's estate in Spring Green, Wisconsin. It's called Taliesin. That's what he called it. And so they went for a week. Every day we would drop them off, and they would go the whole day from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. And there was a young adult writer who was a resident at the estate for that week, and he taught them creative writing. They went into Frank Lloyd Wright's house and wrote poetry based off of the artifacts and things that they learned. They went for walks, nature walks, writing and thinking about the things that they're seeing and noticing. And one day, I had asked the director of the program if she wouldn't mind me staying and doing a painting. And I think I have it right here. It's this painting on the left. So my girls where they did all of these classes was the school. So on the property there is a school that actually started in 1904, but became the architecture school, where he taught architecture students for many, many years. And the school actually continued after his death, all the way till COVID. There was actually architecture students all the way till 2019 in this building working. And in 2019, during COVID, the school and the foundation that runs the property parted ways. And so those students went to Arizona, and the school is still open today, still teaches students architecture, but they've separated from the foundation that preserves this property. So since then, since 2019, the foundation that preserves the property has hosted workshops and these experiences for kids in the area. So I did this painting, and the director saw it, and she loved it, and she asked me if I'd be interested in the following year if I would come in and stay for a week, and be a resident there and teach a watercolor painting class. And I said yes, like right away. And I followed up. So, about a couple months later, I followed up with some emails to her, and I ended up in the summer of 2024. I got to stay on the property for a week and teach watercolor painting classes to high school students. They actually they gave me his sister's house, which he built for his sister on the property in 1908. And this is the house right here on the right-hand side. So every day I'd get up in the morning, I would go teach classes till 4 in the afternoon. And then at 4 in the afternoon, I was free. So I got my chair, grabbed my watercolor sets, and I walked around to a different building on the property every single day and painted until sunset. And then I went home, cooked dinner, went to sleep, did it all over again. It was a fantastic experience. I was really deeply blessed to have it and to have that opportunity to go there. One of the really neat things, and this is on the right, you'll see me teaching these students, the tables, even the tables were the exact same tables that Frank Lloyd Wright taught his students at in the 1940s. So you can see, on the left, Mr. Wright teaching his students, and then I'm there in 2024 teaching the same in the same space. And so that was a really neat experience for me to have. So some of my most recent work and some of the work that's up in the show is some imagined landscapes. So I've been painting on our travels, and in the show there's a bunch of pieces from Italy. I traveled to Italy this past summer, and part of the things, some of the things that I'm interested in, just outside of artwork, I'm really fascinated with history. I've been to Italy 3 times now, and every time I go there, I learn a little bit more about ancient Roman culture and the history of ancient Rome. I'm kind of fascinated by ancient civilizations. I can't even tell you how many hundreds of hours of podcasts I've listened to about the topic, and so every time I go, I sort of experience something new. And one of the things that I experienced, not this past trip, but in 2019 we were in Italy, and I came upon a group of paintings by artists from the 17th century that they painted these landscapes, these just beautiful landscapes in Italy and all over Europe, and they did it with this style that is just so romantic. One of the most famous of these artists is his name is Canaletto, or they call him Canaletto, is Giovanni Antonio Canal, and he was born in the 1600s, and in the 18th century he did most of his work. And when you look at his work and you look at his paintings, there's something calming and serene about them. And when he paints ruins, there's just this nostalgia that you get for the past. Seeing people interacting and moving amongst these ancient ruins, I was just really deeply drawn to this. And I started painting some ruins of my own, where I'd go on these travels and painting. And I started thinking back to the sculpture work that I'm doing, where I feel like the sculpture work, what I'm trying to do, and it's really kind of made me realize what I'm trying to do with it, is I'm kind of saying, like, what is our civilization going to look like hundreds and hundreds of years later, after people look back on the buildings and the remnants of our society? When they look back on it, what are they going to see? How are they going to feel? And you know, as scary as the COVID pandemic is, as nervous as I am for the state of our world right now with things going on, there's something that puts me at peace, knowing that for every civilization that has come and gone, for every civilization that faces the end, the people keep going. People have always, no matter what, we've always persisted. So people have continued, and maybe the civilization or society broke down, maybe buildings and things got abandoned, but they built new ones, and they formed a new civilization and a new society. And so there's something that puts me at peace thinking about that. And so I started imagining our world, our landscapes. What would skyscrapers look like, or modern buildings as we abandoned them? And so I started taking compositions that were done by some of these artists. And the landscape painting style is called vedute, which literally just means view. And I started taking some of their compositions and imagining our world, people looking back on our world. And one of the things that I really want to make happen with these paintings is I want them to be beautiful and nostalgic, and I don't want them to look scary. I want them to look picturesque, like Canaletto's work. So I've been working with this now for this last year, working on different pictures, different imagined landscapes. And it's really interesting because just about before the show that I have up at St. Mark's opened, I was doing some more research into Canaletto's work, and I discovered, and I did not know this, but he did imagined landscapes as well back in the 1700s. These are some of his work. He called them capriccio, and in plural it's capricci. And so he would imagine these ancient structures and the contemporary structures living in the same space. He saw and imagined these like kind of ancient Roman ruins and how people still live in and amongst them. and there's something really beautiful about this work. I also started realizing that there's people in all of these pictures. And I think that that's interesting because, again, it's kind of reinforcing that idea that maybe this civilization is long gone, but the people aren't. The people are still here. So it's something I'm considering with my work, how I would either show that people are still there or directly have them in the work, which I have not tried yet. I have not done that yet, but it's something I can experiment with. So that's kind of my presentation. I'm curious if anybody has any questions about the work, about my process. What would you like?
Do you have like another job, or is this your life now? You know what I mean? I mean,
Wow, yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, wow, it's a lot of work, but he's a teacher.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm an art teacher. I teach full time.
Perfect.
Every painting that you see here is a product of either I'm painting them when I'm on vacation or I'm painting them at night. You know, all like most of my work is a nighttime job for me. But it's not really a job. It's really I know myself, and I know that if I'm not creating, there's a sadness somewhere deep inside me that I know that I overcome that when I'm creating. There is something really, I said the word before, but it is deeply fulfilling for me to make. And so I try to find whatever time I can to do that. It's incredibly difficult to do. So there is something else that I know about myself, and that is I work really, really well under deadlines and pressure. So I have told myself in the last 10 years to say yes to any opportunity. So when St. Mark's asked me, when the art committee asked me if I'd be interested, I did not have all of this work done. I did not have things framed or cataloged or made, and I said yes, because I knew that I was going to Italy. I could get a whole bunch of work done. I know that I work really well under deadlines and pressure. So because it's too easy when we're all busy, everybody is, and it's really easy that you have to find priorities. And so sometimes the work that you do that is fulfilling to you gets put off to the side because you're helping others. You're giving to you're taking your kids to where they need to go. You're helping out. You're doing work around the house. You're giving yourself to others. And so usually for me, the only way for me to stop myself from doing that is, well, I have to, because I have to have 20 pieces framed and matted, and I have to install them next week. So I'm going to have to say no to this other thing so I can have time to get done what I need to get done for.
And you were talking, I mentioned a couple of times about critiques.
Yeah.
And there was critique when you were in Italy, and you participated in critiques in Evanston and so forth. How is that part of is that a regular thing? And what do you think about critiques?
I thrive off of them in every aspect of my life. So not only with my artwork, but also with my teaching practice. I'm like, the other teachers would hate me for saying this, but like, I don't think I'm observed enough. I don't think we're observed enough as teachers. And I actually like openly invite administrators to come look at my classes and watch what I'm doing, because I don't shy away from getting feedback. I want it. I think it makes us better especially if we're open to it. I know a lot of, like, I know my daughters, like in school, you hear about this growth mindset that they're trying to teach kids nowadays. they're using it as a buzzword, but they're not really doing it because they're still afraid of getting criticism or feedback. And I don't think criticism is bad. I know that we take that word, like, oh, stop criticizing me. It's like, wait a second, criticism isn't bad. It's not inherently bad or good. It's inviting somebody to make observations and tell you what they see, what they find, giving you suggestions. And I find as long as the suggestions are actionable and I can do something with them, then they're positive to me. That's good. So yes, I critique. My critique group meets once a month, and I actively continue to participate in that. And then you know, I'm sharing my work as well. So part of the benefit to I told you guys that I'm also an assistant director of this nonprofit called Art Connected. Everybody who is a member of that program, they're all high school art teachers. And I will tell you that they are the best teachers in the whole state, if not the country. I mean, these people are absolute rock stars. And so part of the benefit of putting myself out there and volunteering for this organization is that I'm in and amongst them, and we talk all the time, not only about our teaching practice, but we also are all working artists as well. So we have shows once a year. We show and share our work in lots of different opportunities. So I've shared and shown my work with members of that organization in other galleries in the city and other opportunities. And we're always giving each other feedback on what we do.
How do you encourage students who you might be reluctant to go deeper into their creativity or their passion because they're afraid of criticism?
That's a really great question. So with my students, I start them with a process of critique called an empathic critique. And I really apologize. I don't have the name of the gentleman who developed this, but I could forward it to you. The foundation or the premise of an empathic critique is that there are no value statements ever given. What is given in the critique is observations. So what do you notice? Why do you think you noticed that one aspect of the work? Look deeper at it. What else do you notice? Why do you think that aspect stands out to you? These questions kind of get students to see that they can give feedback by sharing their experience of the work. And as the artist, so on the receiving end of that, it's really interesting to hear how other people are receiving the work rather than thinking about it being a value judgment, good, bad. I try to tell my students, you can tell somebody, great job, this is wonderful artwork, I love it. That's bad criticism. It's bad feedback because I don't have anything to do with that. I can't do anything with that. I don't know why you like it. I don't know what I did that made me elicit this response. So I can't repeat it ever. But if you tell me that you're really interested in how the light areas of the painting are standing out in different areas and how there seems to be a balance of white areas that guide your eye around the work. That's something I can take and I can use it the next time, and I can make a conscious effort of using it. So that's how I teach it to my students. It's hard because they don't talk to each other that much, like they don't put themselves out there. And so it's something that is a practice. It's something you have to, and that's another word I use with my students all the time. when they, I have a lot of students that are into sports, and I say, well, what do you do after school every single day to get better at that sport? Oh, well, I go to practice. Oh, why do you call it practice? Oh, because you're doing it over and over again until you get good at it. Oh, well, artists call their work their art practice. That's what I call my work. I also call my teaching practice. Because if I don't do it over and over and over again, I'm never going to get good at anything. You get good at something by treating it like practice and not the big game, right? I'm practicing at painting. I'm not making a masterpiece. Later, somebody can look at my work long after I'm dead, and they can say, well, this is his masterpiece, right? But I don't know that. I'm just playing. Like I'm experimenting. I'm playing. Yep.
I taught photography at community college, and people often ask me, how come you don't get paid? The board, I said, because I have a new audience every semester or every year, and so it's an enjoyment of sharing or enjoyment of what you do with some new group.
Yeah.
Every year, so it's fresh every year.
Yeah.
Or every term.
It's really interesting because you get so as a teacher, you get a new group of students, so you have a new audience, but you also have a new source of inspiration for yourself. I feel that my students are inspiring me sometimes just as much as I'm inspiring them. I every year, every class, there's always a solution to a problem that I've never seen before, which is really interesting. I see a lot of the same solutions. I mean, but there's always one or two or something that's like, wow, like I never thought about that. And I didn't know that. We'll have to talk because I teach photography as well. So we'll have to talk about that, John. I didn't know you taught photography.
And there's also the teaching of a vocabulary.
Yeah,
that's really important.
Thanks for sharing. Yes.
Is your primary call to create? Is teaching secondary? Is that also?
Wow, that's a hard question. Wow. That is a real hard question. I believe that my primary call is to create. I believe that deep inside me is this need that I find fulfillment and I find a passion for life in creating. However, I don't see teaching as like a secondary aspect of my life, that it's, something that I have to do to then create. I feel right now that that both of them in a way are creating, because as a teacher, you're constantly creating. You're constantly solving creative problems, and you're constantly inventing new ways and new things. And so I have not achieved where I think I would love to be as a teacher yet. Even after 20 years, I feel like I am still growing and learning and trying to make myself a better educator. But I think at some point, the classroom is your artwork, if that makes sense. You can really think about it like that. Like, this is a collaborative work of art that you're making with the students. And there are moments where things really work, and there's moments where things really fall apart. And I like that. There's kind of a tension there, but it's the same thing that happens when I'm making a painting. There's moments when things work, and there's moments where things are falling apart. And my job as an artist is to kind of keep pushing the things that are working, and then pulling back on the things that aren't until something, you know, beautiful or meaningful happens.
You teach color theory.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's definitely, I teach sculpture, painting, drawing, and photography classes. And occasionally, I've picked up a ceramics class here or there, but so I kind of teach everything. I teach a very wide variety. So I teach color theory in both photography and in drawing and painting classes, as well as sculpture. It's kind of necessary. Do you have a question, Joyce?
I just thought when you were talking about how you teach critique for your students, that that's something that we could all learn from in terms of applying to our discussions with others in any, not just around art, but around just how we interact and discuss.
Yeah.
And I found that really helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I can, it's just a real quick search here, Glenn. I can find the gentleman that wrote the guide on empathic critiques for anybody that is.
Well, and it's interesting how our culture currently, there's a lot of criticism of empathy in general. You know, there's a Christian book about how empathy is a sin or something like that. I mean, it's just, the sin of empathy, I think is what it's called. And, I just find that so interesting.
I think one of the disasters today is the fact that a lot of school districts don't feel that the arts are
Right.
important
Right.
thing. They help ground your vision and your,
Yeah. It's a huge issue. Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and it's interesting because I know that there's been lots of studies and polls taken. As an art teacher, one of the things, you know, that I have to do, unfortunately, is I have to advocate for, you know, for art practice and teaching art to students. And one of the things that that we as art teachers have to use to kind of like justify what we're doing is U.S. News and World Report, Forbes magazine, all these major publications in business and industry. They've done numerous polls of industry leaders, Fortune 500 companies, and the leaders in those companies are constantly saying the number one skill that they want their employees to have is creativity. And so if they're asking for this and you're not implicitly teaching creativity, how do you get the kids there? Because what they're used to is they're used to coming into a class, the teacher gives them a project idea or something they have to do, and they're just asking, well, what do I need to do to get an A? Show me what you want, and then I'm going to make that thing that you want, rather than.
Are you gonna close us out? I was about to do that.
No, it's okay. Gonna leave here.
There's a famous quote